All right, welcome to another episode from the Chart Reader. So I normally don't cover tickers back to back to back, but I am here for my viewers. Way too many people are asking, so I will at least give you thoughts on these one more time. So we'll look at SoundHound and BBAI. If I got time, I'll throw in SOFI real quick. Just been crushing it. It really has been. All right, but interesting day for both. All right, SoundHound. I mean, I feel like I want to go into the details before the opening thoughts, right? But SoundHound very much tries to confirm. I'll be real honest with you. I don't remember the exact number I said for the confirmation. I don't know if I said like 36. I really don't know. But this thing gaps up. This thing opens all the way up here at 1322, right? From there, we obviously see the day play out. There were moments where we fall and this and that, but yeah, we closed lower than we opened, and as much as it's obviously that went up because we were down here yesterday, right? But that's not a great green candle, right? There's a reason these two are different colors, right? From there, that's just kind of a doji in my head, so I still need a bigger, better candle to believe. But hey, we're holding the line. We basically dropped 50% volume, right? And I'll talk about that shortly, but um where are we to this? That's not bad. It's at least the low end of November and the lowest day of. Yeah, we'll talk about the volume for sure as well, right? But as much as I wanted as much as I wanted the candle up here to confirm, I wanted volume to confirm, and clearly that didn't happen. I wouldn't call it a pump and dump necessarily, right? But it's definitely a pump and didn't continue, which is a little annoying, but we'll talk about those details shortly, right? BBAI, hey, we saw the red candle today, right? And my goal is it didn't freak you out. All right. I think the biggest thing that changed my trading game was getting ready for the red candles. Cause trading is the easiest thing when all you're doing is watching it go up and you got nothing to sweat about and grow gray hairs on, right? But when you see doji after doji after doji with a high RSI and there's a little more 50-50 in the air, right? And you're ready for a scary candle that might take you below 7. And I mean, my goodness, I'm never here to brag, but the low of the day was 2 cents lower than my line, right? When you are ready for that kind of drop, you don't end up panicking. And all of a sudden, that drop was actually the bounce that we were hoping the lowest it would go. And then you bounce back up. And hey, relatively speaking, we're not too bad still compared. And all those things together, right? But the biggest thing is really not to brag about putting this line. We'll talk about why I put that line, right? But I woke up to a 7% loss candle, right? I don't wake up at the market open. I sleep. I'm on the west side, right? So, um, it used to be wildly scary to see that. But when you're ready and all that, I hope good things were able to happen. Listen, we're not out of the woods just yet. There's still some reasons to be concerned. We're going to still talk about both sides of it, right? But if today was the worst of it, perfect. If not, there's still a couple things to worry about, right? So we'll talk about that. My cat's trying to get out. What are you doing? I was about to do my spiel right there. All right, she's out right there. Okay, cool. So before we do go any further, though, and I give you more of my thoughts and opinions, what are we going to do? Same thing we always do, right? We'll take a look at the daily and the weekly to see how these things are setting up short term. We have our 5 moving averages. There are horizontal support and resistance lines that I do draw manually myself. And then when we are done up here, we'll use the MACD, RSI, and volume as our lower indicators. Hey, really quickly, if you can, please subscribe to this channel. Share this video online with your friends. Comment good or bad if you disagree. Look, anything you can do helps so much with these YouTube algorithms. But for real, just being here, giving me your time, I'm so grateful for it. All right, so let's talk about SoundHound really quickly. And I think the volume is really where I wanted to start. Look, I was wildly excited about yesterday's volume, right? I remember drawing this exact same line. I was just stressing how this was at the minimum the best volume all year, right? No one cares about red volume days. We only care about green ones, right? So best volume day by a lot, right? The other ones were down here to it, right? Let alone the same level volume as that crazy December run, right? So very, very much excited about yesterday's volume. Just like we care about more than a single candle, we care about more than a single volume pop, right? I need to believe that this is going to sustain the volume. That's what momentum means. It means volume, right? And if you could hold the volume, great things are going to happen, all right? When you lose 50%, and again, I'm not exaggerating that number. This thing was basically at 120 million shares. We're basically down in the 60s, right? So maybe not exactly 50%, but we lost at least 40 something percent volume, right? When you do that, you generally don't get a green candle. You know what I mean? I'm curious, and I actually didn't do this. Okay, that makes sense. All the volume came in the first 15 minutes, right? In the first 15 minutes, at the open on today's candle, that's where all the volume came. We got 12 million shares in that first 15 minutes. From there, not much after, right? 12, I don't know how much 12, that's a fifth of that 60, right? So, when most of it comes right there, it's going to be tough, and I think it makes sense with what happened up here. So what happened up here, right? Number one, I really don't like it when we open up here and then close down here. That's not what a green candle should be. A green candle should open down here and go up here, right? So I'm always a little annoyed when I see those. Nonetheless, there's more to like than not like, right? We're nowhere near this candle yesterday. We obviously closed up here. We're still above the golden line, right? And what's starting to happen is it looks like the 20 is about to golden cross the 200 actually, right? I don't talk about golden crosses too often, but yeah, I definitely see it down there, right? So there's still good things happening. And excuse me, this is a little bit of a noisy channel, right? Maybe there's arguably a line like right around there, right? We're still a little bit above that. What's that down? That's not the line to draw. What's that right there? Yeah, we're still above that. Either way, this is a noisy little channel right there, right? It just is. So I can see a little bit of a reason, and obviously you have an 84 RSI, but I think to me the 50% volume drop and that being an okay candle is still strength. All right. I don't want to go below 50% of this, basically 1230. I'm clicking at 1235 right now. The cool thing was that we didn't even wick that, right? Like if I was to draw 50%, I think it'd be right about there, give or take. Maybe just a little higher. Maybe about there. And I would still say the wick didn't get that low. So don't lose that 1240, 1235 range. And I think there's still going to be a lot to like. Yeah, there's definitely going to be things to worry about under 12. But that 8 should start to exponentially go up and actually start coming a lot closer to 12. So even if we lost 12, that 8 should be really close to catching it, all right? I wouldn't mind if we oscillate here a little bit because, again, number one, this isn't the same sound hound that it used to be, right? I need to keep pinching myself and bring myself to reality, right? Like, it's not a bad thing. It's at least still doing well, right? But I was getting really jaded while this was taking off. And again, I'm talking to myself a little bit right here, right? But I could see it. Golden lines are hard. They are, right? And this one is actually basically an IPO line, right? So this is not an easy line to get over, right? But if it does, man, there's nothing but green, red, nothing, green, red, nothing, green, right? So get over this, and my goodness, good things can come. 84 RSI is definitely not something to ignore, right? But bring me the volume, keep that MACD looking good, and I'll be happy, right? This is still a solid weekly. This thing is still saying we should have a couple good weeks left. It looks like earnings is about a month and a half away still, right? So this can give me a good couple weeks until we get to earnings, and then earnings will dictate what happens next, right? So, yeah, just don't lose 12, I think is the easiest thing to say. Hopefully we never go below that like 1230 range. And then really, if I was to put a money line on this thing, yeah, I think it's, look, there's no such thing as safe. The safest number is 1380, all right? I really do like it over 1350. I think if you can get over 1350, that's a really interesting money line. Yeah, between 1350 and 1380. I think somewhere in that, right? If you can break into that, next place you're gonna go is 15. That's roughly a little bit. That's maybe a 15% move right there, and then there's so much to love over that 15, right? So Let me know your thoughts. Let me know your opinions, even if you disagree. Let's come into BBAI right now, all right? And look, I've been saying the last 3 days just look like these 50-50 dojis to me, right? And in some ways, if you put these two together, it's almost a perfect doji as a non-candle dude, right? Like I see some people thought it should have flown this day and it came back to reality. I see some people thought it should have tanked this day and it came back to reality. I'm still calling this a 4-day doji run right here, right? I said it in the beginning, I'm going to say it again. Hopefully, my last couple videos made you ready for today's scare. Because I'll tell you, I've panicked so many times when I wake up first thing in the morning and I'm seeing this 7%. I'm pretty sure that was the number. I don't know if it went lower than 7%, but oh man, I saw that. I saw where we were at, and I'm just sitting there going, all right, let's see if this holds like we're expecting it to, right? And as you let that play out, you don't freak out. And that's why I love technicals, right? Again, I'm never here saying it's more important than fundamentals. I'm never here saying that these technicals are better than other ones, right? But yo, there's a power to not falling in love with a ticker. And to me, over a line and under a line is the easiest way to make that sentence a reality. You know what I mean? And stay over it. You're very black and white. You fall under it. It's very black and white. You know what I mean? So, yeah. I think from there, what are we looking for? It's almost the exact same things still, right? What's really starting to get bothersome is volume. Okay? What we were talking about was this just beautiful, 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 almost picture perfect. Look at that rise in volume. All of a sudden, I'm actually seeing that same thing on the down. I'm starting to see that same thing on the down. All of a sudden, we're getting a lot closer to this 50-day line, right? I'm actually more worried about volume than I am this up here. Because again, in my head, volume will dictate what happens, right? I think what's incredibly important is tomorrow to come around. Man, I even think that's too low. I think it has to come to around here. I need around 230 million shares tomorrow. I would obviously love more, but this is wildly critical. If we don't get in the first hour 33 million shares, yo, I'm worried about BBAI because we can't just sustain this level anymore. Because we've at least seen, hey, if we can hold the line, we're probably just going to hold price. All right. At some point, again, I don't move a lot of money. Let me just be real with you, right? There are people that move a lot of money. I would get bored if I saw this and I would move my money somewhere else if I was that big a whale a trader, right? And that is what happens, right? What was just sit and watch and go is starting to get boring. And as things get boring, volume goes down and it goes to the next exciting momentum ticker, right? So we really, where'd my calculator go? We really need 33 million shares. I need to believe we are in this level of trading right here, right? Like I really would like 214, 215, like that's maybe okay. Just let's shoot for 230. All right, 230 million shares. This 165 is only 30 million more than we were expecting. We're expecting 134, we got 165. That's not what a volume juggernaut does. What it does is we're expecting 125. Here's a quick 375 instead, right? So we're starting to become night and day. It's still good because we're still over it, right? But that's worrisome down here, all right? Otherwise, these are still the exact same lines. There's no new educated thing I can draw. These four are insignificant candles. There's no new information. We're still over the 8MA. That's a good thing. All right. We're still over this 698, right? That's a good thing. I really, really don't want to lose that because all of a sudden I got to worry about losing the 8 and coming to the 20, right? So if we lose 698, the next line is basically 650. All right, I'm basically clicking at 655. If this loses 655, it's gonna lose $1 and drop to 550. All right, so that's definitely the danger line. Hopefully, it never goes below 660. All right, that's the safest number. If we can come to this like it did today, hopefully it'll bounce, and that should be a strong line, right? Zooming out. What we're looking for is this 770. I'll draw this because I keep forgetting that number. That's not a good line. It's really not. But yeah, if this gets over 772, 770, whatever, it's gonna head back up. All right, I'll make this our golden line for now. Why not? Cool. I think that's the thought. And you know what? Just to make it that much easier, let's make that the immediate death line. That looks too much like the 50. Sorry. If you're staying here, I'm wasting your seconds, and I sincerely apologize. That's too dark. Come on, dude. There we go. Perfect. Break the golden line. Beautiful. Break the death line. Scary. We're calling that our neutral line right now. And you can see the neutral line's a lot closer to the death line than it is the good line, right? So it's a loose neutral, right? It's a very tight neutral, to say the least, all right? So I think, let me just talk about this because I know I talked about volume. Again, I obviously want green over red both times, all right? I do. I am okay with this thing slipping under, number one, because the RSI was too crazy and it does need to go down. And generally the way it goes down is the red one has to go on top, right? Like you rarely see the healthy cool down with green over red and then back, like green goes under, then green goes back up, okay? I like that it's happening with the MACD still green over red and relatively decent spacing. It's not like they're super tight, super tight, super tight. Obviously, the like MACD might still be green over red for another like 2-3 trading days. And maybe in the next 2-3 trading days, that'll be enough to take this 80 to a 70 that's ready to go back on up to an 80 plus, right? So there's as much as I'm not loving this, this is still a healthy cool down point as long as we don't lose this line, all right? Weekly, where are we at? Look, this is a doji going into the last couple days, right? So that was the best candle in a while. That was a really important confirmation and gap up. This 8 is probably going to start sloping up pretty hard going to the next couple of weeks, right? So, yeah, I'm still seeing healthy cool down, right? Like it's a relatively high number and it hasn't been, that's only an 80 right there. All of those aren't that much higher, right? Yeah, this thing on the weekly hasn't been into the 90s just yet, right? Even on these, I can go all the way back to here. We've never crossed into the 90s on the weekly. I know SOUN has done it, right? Like I know that thing happened, right? And it might have even happened right here. Yeah, that's a 90 on the right. Like it took a while before it finally happened, right? Like back then it didn't, but BBAI, we're getting into these new levels. You can see it right here on the weekly, right? Again, look at that weekly volume, right? I mean, it was insane. And even this week, it's only been 3 days, is almost what, top 5 already, right? So as you zoom out and kind of relatively look at it, it's okay as this daily does some healthy cool down stuff, because really that zoom out is just kind of showing some other stuff. I didn't guess I was going to be talking about this for 18 minutes total, but I think that's a decent place for us, right? So let me know your thoughts, let me know your opinions, even if you disagree. Oh, I appreciate you so much.